Someone set this up. And today is Friday, May the 17th, 2019 of the Stuff I Heard podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Joshua Peak. Today's Friday, and I happen to have my lovely wife here today, Deloris. Say hello, Deloris.
Hello, Deloris.
And she actually texted me today and said, hey, you want to do a podcast? And I was like, really? You want to do a podcast?
Sure.
I'm surprised. I really am surprised. I'm a little surprised and also sort of like, yeah, I knew you'd be addicted to this a little bit.
No, I don't want to do this all the time.
But it's like, you know, back-to-back weeks here. I mean, there's got to be something to it.
It was fun.
Did you hear some stuff this past week that you're excited about?
What do you mean?
I mean, you told me that you listened to a new podcast.
I did. I listened to Anna Faris.
Anna Faris.
Ferris.
I pronounce it Ferris.
Ferris?
Yeah.
And no, it's Anna.
Anna Faris.
Anna Faris.
Yeah.
Very good. I think it's
Chris
called...
Pratt's ex-wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do believe her podcast is called Uninformed? Unqualified.
Okay.
But it's very good. I've only listened to 2 so far.
How did you find it?
It popped up on my feed maybe when I was looking into more of Michael Rosenbaum's podcast.
Okay.
And it does just like Facebook or Amazon. It's like Amazon. If you buy this, you might like this.
Okay. So
if you listen to this, you might like this.
Yeah.
And when I saw her face, I knew who she was. So
And you didn't know at the time that she had a podcast?
No, I did not know at all.
Okay.
So those algorithms work.
Good. All right. Well,
except for whenever you look for certain things on the internet and then it pops up on your Facebook feed.
That's a little creepy.
It is creepy, but why is it some of the things you've looked at, but sometimes it's things you've never looked at.
Sometimes it's things your husband looked at, and then
No, can't be. The one thing I get the most pop-ups on my Facebook feed, you would never in a million years guess what it is.
Cedarwood Projects.
No, it's not. It is. What are those things called that some women wear that they?
Spanx?
Yes, that's it. And
really?
I don't think I have.
How did I get Spanx from you holding your arms up like this?
Because I was like wiggling myself into a pair of Spanx. I don't think I have ever looked online for a pair of Spanx, but yet those things show up on my Facebook feed so much.
Are they stereotyping?
Is somebody trying to tell me something?
Like, listen, she's a lady. Her kids are grown. Maybe she needs some Spanx. We're going to send her an advertisement and hope that she buys some.
Some of them are just comical.
Well, we heard from Pastor Perry this past week on the Second Chance Church website,
right?
The podcast. He did a Mother's Day podcast that I listened to today.
Very good podcast.
You told me you heard it earlier in the week, and so I checked it out today, and I was like, "Holy cow!" And
was it good?
I was weeping in the car.
I know. I had to stop it. At one point.
I was literally in a parking lot, and I was like ugly crying.
Yeah.
And you know, it was unbecoming, but seriously.
Yeah. I had to stop it. I was listening to it getting dressed.
Yeah.
And putting on makeup. Had to stop it because makeup was running down my face.
Yeah.
Because I was crying. I had to start it back later.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. But he's always done good Mother's Day.
He's always done good Mother's Day. He's always done good sermons, period.
He does good sermons, period.
Yeah.
But his Mother's Day ones are always really good.
I'm kind of curious if Dad and Trish went. I really am. Since
I thought the same thing.
They've been going to the Anderson campus and checking it out. I really hope that they were able to go and see that in person because, especially with Dad, I mean, this is his first Mother's Day with his mom passing away,
right.
and
if he saw that one, then I can only imagine how he must have.
I wanted to reach out to him, but also I didn't want to pick at a scab kind of thing.
Right.
You know, but I was amazed at I was amazed at his discussion and his sermon, and also was also not surprised. Amazed and not surprised.
No, not surprised at all. Not at all.
I mean, he is the kind of guy that just continues to crank out good information and good sermons that relate to people on a personal level, but also include like actual teachings from the Bible, which is amazing. I mean, he does such a good job of that. Shout out to Pastor Perry Noble up in Anderson, South Carolina. If you haven't heard his podcast, check out Second Chance Church. It's also available on YouTube. If you want to watch a live sermon, they do a live feed on Sundays, and they do Facebook feeds. So, I mean, there's no excuse not to check it out if you're ever curious. And I'm telling you, It's awesome. I reached out. I had a guy reach out to me, actually, Big Daddy 1992 on YouTube. He reached out to me and he said, "Thank you so much for like recommending certain things over the last year. I have fallen in love with Pastor Perry Noble and with Dave Ramsey." He said, "You don't know how much that's meant to me over the past year." And I've had a lot of people reach out this past week. You know, since we did the year-long podcast, I've had a lot of people, comment on it and say, thank you for also mentioning a lot of things that now I find very entertaining. And really that community is kind of what I wanted to nourish and develop. And I felt like, this is all a part of it. Like doing the YouTube part of it, doing the podcast, talking to people that I know personally and saying, hey, would you like to be on here? And also talk about things that you're interested in. Because we can help each other grow and learn and communicate together, and it takes involvement from all of us. And, people like Bert and like Joe Rogan and Anna Faris and all of these people, none of it could be done without each other supporting each other and promoting each other and saying, hey, by the way, why don't you also check out the cool thing? So listen, if you're out there and you're listening to podcasts, if you're listening to my voice, take a chance on somebody that we're talking about and listen to something that they've developed. And you may find something that, can help you develop as a person, can help you find salvation. There's no telling what it can do.
I did listen to your podcast.
My solo?
I listened to that, but we were here last week. I had not listened to your podcast with
Champ
Lambert.
Champ Lambert.
I thought that one was really good. Very good. I did.
I was worried about that one.
No, I enjoyed it. I was worried. I wasn't worried, but you had kind of said that you thought he might have been a little nervous or a little shy, but that did not come across in the podcast.
Okay.
For somebody that did, I met him briefly that morning here at the house.
Yeah.
So I don't know him. I did not pick up on the fact that he might have been nervous. So not at all.
Okay.
I thought he did a great job.
Well, that's good to know. I mean,
and I hope he comes back because I know you
I know
have
he
some
will.
similar interests.
And here's the thing: is like going into it, I didn't know what we were going to talk about, but I know that from years of talking to Champ that he and I were easy conversationalists. I mean, we can talk about anything, really. And I have that in common with a lot of guys that I work with.
That's because you just like to talk.
What are you trying to say?
You just like to talk.
Wait.
Remember when we first got married, I was Chatty Cathy all the time about everything.
You're not Kathy. I don't know if you're talking
I was Chatty Deloris about everything all the time. And you would come home from work and it'd be like, oh my gosh, what are you, wah. Which was, me talking to you.
Yeah.
But now it's like we've switched roles all the way around.
Yeah.
A lot. Kids left home. I stopped with the cooking and a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Now you stress over what we're going to have for dinner, and I'm just like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Before I stressed over dinner, you were like, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's food. I'm tired. Let's just eat.
Just feed me something. I don't care. Yeah. I remember that. And
I would just chatter away about things that were on my mind and my day and how was your day, and you were just a zombie from work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now we've kind of switched roles.
Well, I think it's a healthy thing. I think that we're
definitely not in a rut. We changed things up. We changed things up.
No, definitely. I mean, you hear about people who talk about, oh man, I'm so bored with my relationships, and I'm like, why? Why do you let yourself be there? You can make changes at any time. You can decide what you want to do with your life. I mean, really, all it takes is effort.
I was extremely OCD for a long time, but I think I've let a lot of that go.
Yeah.
There's some things in the kitchen that bother me, but then when I just look at the big picture, you don't have to cook anymore.
Yeah.
So you don't need to have a say in what the pantry looks like or what the refrigerator looks like.
For the longest time, she wouldn't let me buy Vienna sausages from Sam's, even though the kids eat Vienna sausages all the time. And I'm like, just let me buy the multi-pack because it's so much cheaper.
Is that why we have like 40
That's why we have,
in the
it's not 40,
pantry?
It's 18. 18 comes in the pack. And I'm telling you, buying that pack is as cheap as buying like 6 of them at the store regularly. So
that explains
the 18 is a way better deal at Sam's. I'm just saying, not to advertise for Sam's or anything, but we do happen to have a 26-year-old that moved home recently due to relationship problems, and so it's better to have him some food he can eat on the run available at any time. And he's like, I'm hungry.
I wish he would.
Go in there and eat some Viennas. No, I mean, there's a lot of things that we wish about our lives that weren't the way we were, and there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. I mean, I've talked about this before about how I used to believe that you get out of life what you put into it, but life has decided to throw me a big curveball and go, yeah, oh yeah, guess what? That's not true. None of it's true. You get whatever we give you.
Yeah, basically.
Whatever God wants you to go through, you're going to go through. And it's full of challenges and surprises and aggravations and joys. And whatever you thought you were going to do, it's almost better off if you're lobotomized from the beginning and going like, I don't know what's going to happen. Because then you're not surprised and you're not shocked and you're not like, oh my God, what am I into? What have I got myself into? It's the moment you start declaring about what you want out of your life and what's going to be in your future is when curveballs come your way.
Exactly.
And nothing turns out like you thought it was going to be. Nothing. And, if you're lucky, you're with somebody who can also roll the punches and find a sense of humor in it and also learn to figure things out with you. If you're the only one figuring it out and the other person's bailed, then you're in trouble because it's not a relationship. We've been lucky in the fact that we've rolled the punches together.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. So anyway.
This is stuff I heard. What have you heard this week?
I've heard a lot of stuff. I had the opportunity to
let me guess.
Deep dive into...
Let me guess. I get 3 guesses and the first 2 don't count, right?
Well, you're going to know at least 2 of them.
Joe Rogan and Bert Kreischer.
How about that? You win! Ding, 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 ding. Okay, so first off the bat, I have listened to Bert Kreischer interview with Mike Cowhead Calta. Mike is a DJ from the Tampa area. He used to go by the name Cowhead. And they were actually introduced to each other through Bert doing comedy.
That's where Bert's from, right?
Yeah, he's from Tampa area, and they actually went to the same fraternity. That's actually the only reason that Mike Calta allowed him to be on this radio show back in the day, was they were fraternity brothers, and he said, oh, I forget what he was, ATO or whatever. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll have you on. He's like, yeah, but I'm a comedian. He's like, I don't care. You're one of my brothers. I'm going to have you on. So right away, he was like introduced to this market where Mike Calta had the #1 radio show in the Tampa area. And they've become like personal friends over the years. And he's on there, on this podcast, with Mark Norman and Shane Torres, who are also comedians. And they're interesting. I mean, Bert just got done with a European tour where he went to Europe and Scandinavia. And apparently the Scandinavian people are under some kind of big strike right now with their airlines, so they had to figure out alternative ways for him to get to Scandinavia to do the tour of the European part of it.
Is that his Body Shots?
The Body Shots World Tour.
I know he's adding tour dates to that.
He's adding dates. If you go to bertbertbert.com, you can check out his tour dates and enter the code word SHOTS, and you will get a special rate. The reason for that is he's realized that if you go through just Ticketmaster, like if you're looking for tickets to see Joe Rogan, you're going to have to go through Ticketmaster, and they jack up their prices ridiculously. Whereas Bert and Joe try to keep their prices around like, $30, $35 a ticket. If you don't go through that code, you're going to pay a lot of money for your tickets. And there's no reason to. Like, he's figured out that if you do this promo code, you get it for $35 a ticket. And he's going to be in the Charleston area. God, now I got to look it up.
No, you don't.
He's going to be in the Charleston area. It's on a Thursday. I want to say June 20 something. Anyway, he's going to be in the Charleston area, and I can't make it because it's a Thursday. That really screws up my whole situation. I would go otherwise. I mean, I enjoy him. To me, it's an investment in somebody who brings me a lot of joy, and I would go in a heartbeat, especially for $35 a ticket, considering I paid a lot more this past time.
Okay, so you listened to the podcast that he did with this radio DJ
with them
in Tampa,
and it was fun. It was a good hang.
Was that on Bert's podcast, or was that on?
That's on the Bert.
Okay,
the Bertcast.
Okay, and then
Hang on. I'm actually on his tour website. Oklahoma, Texas, Houston, Charleston, October 10th. It's a Thursday.
Not a June.
That's not June at all.
No,
Why did you say June?
I have no idea.
Golly. Okay, so anyway.
I don't know what I was thinking.
October 10th. He's at the North Charleston PAC. The PAC is like the something arena center. It's in North Charleston. I've driven past it a lot.
Is that the only thing you listened to of Bert's this week?
That's the only thing he's put out this week.
Okay. So
but anyway,
the other would be Joe Rogan.
The only tickets available for that are like in the upper deck too. No. He's not the only one. I listened to Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew After Dark. He interviewed with a guy named Josh Potter. Episode 14. He's called The Human Cockroach.
Ooh.
He is...
wow, how did you get a name like that?
I think he's involved with the show. I think he's like one of the one of the podcast engineers, and they talk to him all the time. He's also on the Your Mom's House podcast with Tom Segura and Christina Pazitsky. He talks about will he or won't he, the shtick where it comes to finishing. He talks about during sex where he edges. You ever heard of edging?
No.
Okay, edging is where you feel like you're going to come, but you don't, so you hold back and you just hold that edge where you don't.
Okay, I don't think this.
Okay, so he's into that.
This is not that kind of podcast.
No. This is the stuff I heard. I heard this today. This is edging. I'm learning about edging. So anyway,
yes,
this guy
but your
edges.
mom listens to this podcast.
I love you, Mom.
She doesn't listen to that one.
Just move past this. Anyway.
Thank you.
They also discuss, because they have radio call-ins, Dr. Drew is an actual physician. He has call-ins to the show, and one of the questions is, when do you talk to your kids about masturbation and the side effects of coming off of drugs? Plus, Dr. Drew comes up with a wild solution that blows Josh's mind. So, it's funny, he talked about, when do you talk to kids about masturbation? I don't know exactly if we ever had that discussion with our kids, although we made a little jokes about the fact that they were spending way too much time in the shower. And I think at one point I mentioned one of our kids was working on his shower muscles a little too much, which the other kids found adorable and laughed.
Not adorable, they found it funny.
They were like, shower muscles, At
the dinner table. I always had this lovely conversation at the dinner table.
All your conversations need to happen at the dinner table.
With 4 males.
Yeah, so, but they have a good point. They have a really good point. I mean, one of the things that Dr. Drew mentioned was, he has kids too, and he's talking about the fact of, if your kids come to you with questions about this, also talk to them about it's normal, but listen, hey, let's be as discreet as we can, because your mom gets a little weirded out by that kind of stuff. He said, if you have to blame your wife, so be it, whatever, but he's like, it's better that than them stigmatizing it and thinking that it's horrible. But anyway, then I went deep diving into some Joe Rogan podcasts, and I listened to several today. Episode 1296 came out Tuesday with Joe List. Joe List is a stand-up comedian. He co-hosts a podcast called Tuesdays with Stories with Mark Norman. He's also in a Netflix special called The Stand-Ups, Season 2. Joe List is hilarious, and their conversation together is hilarious. Then I switched over to a very educational podcast with episode 1297 came out, let's see, I don't know when it came out. Does it say? Wednesday. Okay. So, Phil Dermers is the podcast. Phil, I pronounced that wrong, Demers, Demers. He's a former professional marine mammal trainer and employee at Marineland in Canada. I've heard him on the podcast before. He talked about the fact that he worked for basically it's like SeaWorld around Niagara Falls, this place called Marineland.
There's a place called Marineland in
they're a chain.
St. Augustine, yes. Or close to the St. Augustine. It's on US 1 in Florida.
They're a chain, and he talks about the owner, basically, he's passed away, but there was a time where he got orcas and walruses and, all of the different animals that they have in their park from scrupulous sources. And being in Canada, a lot of times those sources came from Russia. The way they would get these animals was they would target a mom and baby, and they would kill the mom and basically kidnap the baby, bring it to America, bring it to wherever the park is, and then raise the kid in captivity. And he said it happened with a walrus that they named Smoochie, and for whatever reason, this animal was about 16 months old, and it imprinted on him. And from that moment on, this animal thought that he was its mother. And he worked for them for a while. He realized that they were doing a lot of practices that were very detrimental to the animals, and he wanted to figure out a way to somehow get them back to their environment where they belonged in an ethical way. And they fired him, and during the firing process, like, they made an amendment in their decision that they were going to give him rights to be able to visit Smoochie because he was
rights. How
well,
does
in a way, yes.
How did he know that this walrus thought that he was his?
It happens.
Okay.
It imprints, like animals imprint. Like
I've heard of that.
They even talk about that when we watched Jurassic World, that piece of crap movie that we watched. They talk
but
about.
It's also fiction.
No, but it's based on reality. This is a mammal, and mammals imprint on their young. And, you know, he talks about how different animals, in this podcast, he talks about how dolphins, male dolphins, when they're born, they never get further than like a few hundred feet away from their mother their entire lives. Even when they find a mate and procreate, they then return back to live near their mother their entire. So basically, they have Jared.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got a kid. You're describing my kid.
Jared's a dolphin.
Oh my gosh. You're describing my 26-year-old. That is not at all funny. Not at all.
It's a little funny. So anyway, Jared's a dolphin. So it's like that apparently with a lot of mammals, and this Smoochie had imprinted on him, and when he left, like, he was supposed to be given rights through legal action of him being able to visit this walrus whenever he needed to.
I think the walrus did this because he named him Smoochie.
Well, they talked a lot about the fact that he smokes a lot of dope, and maybe that's part of it. But anyway, they're in Canada, so it's all a little different.
Wait a minute, who smokes the dope? The walrus or the guy?
The guy.
Just making sure I'm clear on that.
Phil Dimmers.
Just making sure I'm clear.
He's been on Joe's podcast
before. So maybe
before.
the walrus actually didn't imprint on him. He just thinks that he did.
Well, I think that he did imprint on him.
I'm sorry, but I think I would have had a hard
time
time listening to this podcast without just completely cracking up and losing it.
That's actually pretty depressing in parts of it, because he talks about the legal action they took against him and the fact that they've, come after him in a lot of ways. It's really unethical, and at the end of the day, he just wants this walrus to be able to be moved to a park where he's treated fairly, or she's treated. I don't know if it's a he or she. I don't really remember that part.
Is that that's not a gender specific name?
Smoochie. Smoochy boochies.
I guess that could be for a male or a female.
Yeah, I guess so.
Where do you come up with these podcasts?
Hey, listen, I'll deep dive into anything.
I'm not kidding you.
It's interesting, too.
I was wondering what you meant by deep dive. Now I know. It's called going to the...
You're going to deep dive. Now you got into Michael Rosenbaum. You deep dived into Michael Rosenbaum. You're like, I like this. What else can I listen to? And you find yourself listening to people you've never heard of, and you're like, this is still a decent podcast.
No. I don't think I'm that way. I have to find something. I have to be able to connect with it. I have to be able to, and maybe this was Dr. Drew, or was this Joe?
This is Joe.
Okay, well, the only reason you listen to that is because of Joe Rogan, let's face it.
Correct. And it's a 2.5 hour podcast, and I thought, I got time.
I just don't have.
And I remember the conversation, because I'd listened to this guy before, and I'd listened to him before just because I was curious about what is this about, and started listening to it, and immediately I was hooked. I was like, oh, this is good. This is good info. But anyway.
So in case you ever run across a walrus, you know what to do now.
If you see a walrus, just go, are you Smoochie? And if you're smoking dope and the walrus talks back to you, let me know.
I'm glad you have this walrus info now. So
what does the walrus say?
I don't have a clue.
Cuckoo.
No, that's a sea turtle.
I think the sea turtle goes, dude. So anyway, so the next one.
Sorry, I'm just messing your podcast all up.
Thursday, Joe did a podcast, number 1298, with Neil Brennan. Neil Brennan, a lot of people don't know him by name, but Neil Brennan was actually a co-creator and co-writer for The Chappelle Show. He and Dave Chappelle were buddies.
Oh.
And they created The Chappelle Show together. They've also done several movies that Dave Chappelle's been the star of. Neil Brennan's been a writer of that, and they're like best of buddies. And he's a comedian. He's hilarious. He's had several podcasts with other people. He talks about his new podcast. It's called How Neil Feel. I don't know why he named it that, but Neil's his first name, so How Neil Feel.
F-E-E-L?
F-E-E-L.
Not an S?
Oh, how Neil Feel.
Oh, okay, that's different.
N-E-A-L, Neil. He has a brother named Kevin. No, wait, I'm thinking of Kevin Nealon. That's different. That's not the same guy.
Okay.
Anyway, Neil Brennan, he's hilarious. They're fun together. He talks about the fact that he was on Joe's podcast near the beginning when Joe was on episode like 118, and now he's up to 1298. And he's been on Joe's podcast, I think, like 5 or 6 times. Neil is hilarious. Listening to their conversation, I was immediately a little bit jealous of the fact that I'm not a comedian.
Oh, you are a comedian.
I mean, professionally.
No, you are.
I mean, like, if I had like a time machine and could go back and be like, oh yeah, I could see myself being on stage and doing this thing for real, like having a conversation on stage where I come up with crap all the time. Because that's basically what I do now. I was telling somebody the other day, I said, literally, because he said, you do a podcast? I was like, yeah. He goes, how did you get into it? I said, I literally sat at the computer and went, you've got to learn this. And I made myself learn it. And I mean, just forced my brain to figure it out. And every step of the way, every time I come up with an obstacle, I go, you got to learn this, figure it out. So, like, I made myself learn how to do this stupid music on the first part of this, where it's through GarageBand.
Well, you also had some experience with YouTube. So,
but even then, it was, I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I literally remember pushing my brain when it came to making the music for GarageBand. I remember pushing my brain hard going, you've got to figure this out. There's no way to get around this. And I mean, every step of the way it's been like that, but also, like, just the hurdle of going in front of the camera and hearing, like you said, hearing your voice for the first time and you go, wait, I sound like that? I mean,
right.
The first time I made YouTube videos and I heard myself talk, I thought, who the hell is that? Why does he sound like that? And is that me? Am I portraying myself like I think I am? I mean, because when you're inside your own skin...
You do the podcast different than you do the YouTube videos.
How so?
YouTube videos, you're way more dramatic. I mean, you ham it up. You're a lot like your dad in front of the camera. When you're doing your videos out in the garage, you have a tendency to here when you're doing a podcast, you just talk how you talk to me.
Yeah.
When you're doing your YouTube videos, it's, hey guys, what you doing this today? And it's totally different than your conversation. What? You look at me like I don't know what I'm talking about. Go back and watch some of your videos.
I mean, I've heard you say that. I'm just trying to picture... I mean, I don't think I do that lately. I think the podcast has changed
honestly,
me.
I've not watched... Well, I will be honest. I have not watched as any of your YouTube videos lately.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many of them now with the podcast videos. I do listen to your podcast videos because then I don't have to sit in front of a computer or my phone. I can listen to that while I'm driving down the road. So I've listened to the podcast. I can tell a difference in the way you do your podcast and the way you were doing your YouTube videos. Does that make sense?
Yes.
This is like normal conversation. Even though you're sitting in here a lot of times by yourself, I think you picture yourself having the conversation with the other person on the other side of this podcast.
I do. That's a good point. Let me reset the camera here. That's a good point. Yes, I do that.
I picture you having a conversation with another person. You is how you do your podcast. When you were doing YouTube videos, I think that was a little different because you were looking right directly into the camera. Mm-hmm. You have the camera or your phone usually spun around where you can see yourself. Mm-hmm. And although you do have video set up on this, you don't talk to that camera. You talk to this mic, and I think I have it in my head that you are picturing another person on the other side, like you're having a conversation with them. Yeah. Where in YouTube, when you do your YouTube videos, it was a little different. I felt you were doing
like an audience.
Like an audience. Like an audience.
Yeah, that is true. I pictured an audience because, like, I got started in 2011, and back then it was fairly new. I want to say Dad started in like 2006.
Yeah, your dad had already.
So it was only 5 years before that, and really, even in 2011, if you mentioned the word YouTube to a lot of people, they went, "What's YouTube?" The scary part was this past year in 2018, we went to our tax professional, and she was like, "What's a YouTube?" And I thought, "Really? You prepare my taxes every year?" And
Yeah, well,
Lord, give me strength. Anyway, but in the beginning, I realized that watching other people's videos, one of the biggest mistakes they made was they would tell you about something that was going on, but they would forget to look at the camera and they would say, hey, thank you for watching me be the star of my own show. Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. They're the star of their own show. If they're on YouTube, it's called YouTube for a reason.
Right.
The you part of it is you are the star. So, at some point I made an investment and we bought a drone and we started shooting drone videos. And I'll never forget, I'm watching my own stupid videos and I'm thinking, well, this is boring. I'm just watching this thing fly around.
Right.
And there's no sound. Obviously, why would there be sound? Because all you hear is the motor going. So that's when I made myself learn how to make GarageBand sounds.
And all
but
that
even
stuff is
then,
coming in handy for the podcast.
with the GarageBand stuff, you go back and watch it and you're like, yeah, but what am I watching? And then Casey, as though I was thinking out loud and Casey was reading my thoughts, Casey Neistat came up with the video and he said, listen, no one cares about your stupid drone videos and your stupid slow-mos.
Right.
And he said, they're there to watch you.
Right.
Be the star of your own show. Let this stuff be the backdrop of what you're doing, but don't let it be your show because you're missing out on the opportunity. And it made me realize he's exactly right. I mean...
Well, that's why I have always listened to your podcast, and I've always tried to let you know things that I pick up on as a person who listens to podcasts regularly. I don't... People pay attention to the long pauses where there's nothing.
Yeah.
That because they want to hear something.
Yeah.
You do not.
Well, and a lot of people listen to this while they're driving and they're tired and they're like, entertain me.
The other thing
keep me awake.
was when you purchased the soundboard and the sound quality was a lot better.
Did you tell a difference?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
And you don't. Whenever you listen to podcasts that are poorly done and the volumes go up and down, or you listen to somebody do one
like one of your Mickey podcasts you listen to where they're all Skyping in and it's irritating to me vocally. It's irritating because I'm thinking,
gotten better.
God, you guys could do a better job with this vocal part.
Well, I think they've purchased a soundboard and they've gotten better. But that is, when you listen to multiple podcasts, you pick up on things like that.
Yeah.
You pick up on somebody that moves too far away from the mic.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you can probably hear it occasionally, even on some of the ones that are really good at it. Like if they pull away to get something off of a desk or whatever. I mean, I've watched some Joe Rogan stuff where you see him like move really far away from the mic, but yet he'll still be trying to talk, and you can tell a big difference in the sound quality.
Yeah.
So, that's part of it, and that's one of the things that you have gradually progressed on.
One of the things that I mean, because I listened to a lot of podcasts over the years, one of the things that I like about listening to Pete Holmes' podcast is he turns it on as soon as they walk in the studio, and you hear ambient noise of them walking around and be like, hey man, how's it going? Hey, pretty good. And they'll sit down at the microphone and the sound changes, and they go, are we already recording? He goes, yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to go ahead and start. And like, really? But he does it every episode, and everybody's always amazed. Even if they've done it before, they're still amazed that he's already turned the microphones on. They leave all of it in because he thought, why not?
Yeah.
This is part of it. Like our experience of even saying hello to each other is part of it.
Right.
And he's right. I mean, I've thought about doing that at times, and I thought, well, I don't want to surprise anybody. I mean, it'd be different if people are used to it. I mean, nowadays, a lot of people are used to it, but like the people in my circle are not. I mean, not yet.
I've listened to a few that way. I think Michael Rosenbaum does that a couple times.
Where
the guests will say, "Are we recording?" And LeeAnn Kreischer does it occasionally. Wife of the party. She'll be sitting there.
The equipment on.
She'll be sitting there having just everyday. Her podcasts are just general everyday conversations with friends. But they'll say, "Are we recording already?" "Oh yeah, we've been recording."
Austin will turn it on as soon as they walk in the room, and he's like, "I'll know when to turn it on if you go." Okay, hey, are we recording? All right, so we're doing blah blah blah, and he's like. If you want to cut something out, that's fine. But if you want to listen to this part, this actually kind of makes it cool if you have this ambient stuff in the beginning. And I thought, man, that'd be cool to do that. And I mean, I could get to that point, but like right now, it's not.
Not
conducive.
But anyway, I didn't mean to get you sidetracked.
It'd be different if we had a podcast studio and it would.
Yeah, I know.
Set up and.
So Joe Rogan.
What are you talking about?
With the.
I don't want to get rid of the treadmill. What are you
Smoochie Walrus and.
So anyway, he's in this deep litigation battle, and he's apparently still fighting it. He has a GoFundMe page. Go check out the podcast if you're interested in it. If he talks about how Whitney Cummings has kind of come to his aid a little bit, and she's promoted him a little bit. She's had him on her podcast, and she's a big animal lover and everything. And
then there was the Neil
Brennan.
Okay.
So one of the discussions they talked about Neil Brennan was the thing with Louis C.K.
Okay.
Have you heard about the thing with Louis C.K.?
Oh yeah.
So he apparently was asking girls back in the day if he could jerk off in front of them, and they were like, yeah, okay. And a lot of it was like, unsure, or they were actually okay with it, and he would do it and whatever. But some people talked about it, and then they social media was outraged because this was right during the time of the whole thing with Harvey Weinstein,
right.
and they basically were like, well, he's just as guilty. Well, no, he's not. He's not. And they talk about that a lot. They talk about how Louis C.K. is having a comeback now, and he's actually, making comedy again after a year for taking off of the spotlight. And it's weird that he's working on a bit, and people are starting to put his material online, and it's not done. Like, he's in development stage of trying to create jokes again, and he's like, hey, listen, don't put this stuff online. Like, I'm still developing this stuff. And I can't help but think about the fact that back in the day, I heard Chris Hardwick say that comedy is a lot like a magic trick. It's different than music. If you see the magic trick and you've heard the magic trick, you know how it's going to end, so you're not surprised. Comedy is one of those things where it has to be like a magic trick. You have to not know it's coming, and then all of a sudden the punchline hits you, and you're like, oh, holy crap, I didn't see that coming. Whereas music is like, you just want to hear Freebird over and over. Play Freebird, it's the hits! And so in a way, like, musicians want to be comedians, and in a way, comedians want to be musicians. While they're developing a joke, it's still in the baby stages of it, and it's not fully developed yet, and they don't want people recording it with their phones and leaking it on the internet, because then it ruins it for everybody else if they go to see the show and he's changed it a little bit and he's getting it better. You're not going to get the joke. It's just going to ruin the whole thing. So they talk about that a lot. They talk about the whole experience of that.
So that was Joe.
That was Joe.
That was Joe.
I'm not doing Joe.
Oh, okay. Surprise!
Did you
surprise.
think I was
surprise?
Did you think I was done at?
No.
Stop that! I hit the wrong button. That was Joe, by the way.
No, but I was hoping.
You shut your dirty mouth. So, episode 1299, he just did with a lady named Annie Jacobison. She's an American investigative journalist, author of the 2016 Pulitzer Prize finalist in history. Her latest book, Surprise Kill, Vanish, The Secret History of the CIA Parliamentary Armories, Operators and Assassins, is now available. I hit the same button again. Stop it. She apparently has written several books and has won Pulitzer Prize in writing, and talks a lot about... Well, right away, Joe Rogan starts drilling her about Area 51 and aliens, and how she has an inside source that used to work in that area, who talks about how aliens were not aliens that they actually discovered, that they were actually genetically modified humans, surgically and genetically modified humans from Russia, that Stalin had sent over here to throw us off on a weird tangent, to really mess with us. And she doesn't name the sources, but she does in the books, and she says the original source has passed away now, so she's allowed to talk about it. And there's going to be an additional book that comes out where she tells me even more secrets that this guy told her. It's fascinating.
I was going to say, I don't know about how long I would have lasted with that podcast.
It's fascinating.
2 minutes.
She talks a lot about a lot of inside government secret operations that have happened through CIA operatives, and how she's developed relationships with these people and learned about their history, not from them, but by their friends. They talk about, apparently, a lot of secret missions that have happened overseas, and secret government agencies that are working. If you're a conspiracy theorist kind of person and you're into stuff like that, you're gonna just eat this up like cereal. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, baby, just give me all of it. It's good. It's really good.
Well, you're a sci-fi guy, so
I'm a
sure
sci-fi
you
guy.
geeked out on that.
I am. I've always been of the belief that there's a lot more going on than we see, and that we're not always told what's actually going on in the government, even though something's going on. Even the whole Area 51 thing, like, since the beginning, since I was a child and I heard about it, I thought, that's not exactly right. Like, there's something fishy there. It's not aliens. there's something else. There's something going on. And I didn't know exactly what it was. I knew that Area 51 was used for, test vehicles and for secret vehicles where they were trying to develop a lot of, top secret airplanes and stealth materials and stuff like that. And, when you're doing that in the desert and all you got is a bunch of, dirt-eating hippies out there, you're just like, hey, they're eating mushrooms and peyote and they're just going to say whatever they think and we can get away with a lot of crap here. I always thought it was some kind of government agency thing that went wrong. But I've also been of the opinion that if aliens were real, why would they come up as humans?
Why would they do what?
Why would they be here as humans?
Why would they be here as humans?
Why would they be here as humanoid?
Do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. And not from what you think. Not from movies.
Oh, well, please tell.
Not from movies. Not from any kind of BS about, oh, I think an alien. No. I think there's aliens because I've seen Animal Planet. It's hard to look at videos of things like octopus and think, oh, that's an alien. You can watch it change its shape, its color, its DNA. If it loses a limb, it can grow another one. It can choose to sever its own limb. It is a crazy alien. How can you look at a cockroach and not think, oh, that's an alien? That thing, if you kill it, it still is alive for 2 more weeks.
I think it'll be the only thing left.
Oh my god, that thing is an alien.
I do believe it will be the only.
That thing is an alien. It's up.
Well, we saw Wall-E, right? What was left?
Cockroaches.
A cockroach and the one little green plant.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
A cockroach.
Let's just hypothetically say that we found a planet and we thought we saw life on it. Okay. If you were outside looking in at the Earth and you saw 75% of the Earth is water and most of the animals live in the water, why in the world would you think that the smartest people on the planet live on land? When you want to search the ocean first and be like, hey, what's going on in the ocean? And even then, you wouldn't go dive head first and be like, hey, we're from another planet, how you guys doing? No, you'd send in some kind of something to investigate. Why not send in something like a drone? Maybe genetically modified drone. Maybe it looks like an insect. Maybe it looks like a roach.
Yeah, you lost me.
Think about it. When you were a kid and you turn on the lights and the roach scattered, why did they scatter? Were they charging up?
Charging up from what? They're in the dark.
From electricity.
No, they're in the dark.
They were eating up the electricity before the lights were turned on. When the lights were turned on, they're like, oh, quick, they're here. We gotta go.
Yeah,
and maybe they were transmitting with their little antennas. And
I don't qualify
source.
Insects as aliens.
No, I said they were drones.
Alien drones?
They could be. Why not?
I did have one fly on me one time.
Didn't that freak you out?
Oh my goodness gracious!
You never thought you could dance until then, right?
Don't spray Aquanet on a cockroach on the wall.
You suddenly know ninja moves.
Oh my goodness!
Judy chop.
Ask my sister about that one. Yeah, she and I decided we would spray a cockroach at night.
Yeah, I mean seriously though. But I mean, if you were going to investigate this planet, why would you show up as a humanoid and be like, "Hey guys, I'm from another planet"? No. You'd want to investigate it other ways. You want to look at stuff. I mean, even if we were looking at something else, but we had no idea what it was, we would go like, "Let's look at it first." And you want to do it inconspicuously, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have my own.
I mean, whales. To a whale, a human is like a fly.
Right.
To a turtle, a sea turtle, a human is like a little insect.
But I don't
we
look
live
at that
for such a short amount of time versus those things. To an insect, I mean, we probably seem like whales. We're here forever. I mean, everything is relative in time and space, and all of it is a construct of our own perception. And yet we think we can label things and go, I know what's going on. We have no idea what's going on.
Oh, I agree with that.
Every time we think we know what's going on, something else goes, good luck with that.
I think you're wasting your time trying to think that you know or think about that. It's
what do you mean? It's entertaining.
Of what's going on. I mean, there's no way to know.
I thought it was entertaining.
What?
Thinking about it.
Oh, okay.
Didn't you feel like you were entertained? I mean, if you're watching this right now, aren't you entertained a little bit?
Sure, they're riveted.
Right now, they're like, no, move on.
No, just move on.
Dummy.
Exactly. So, was that your podcast for the? Was that all?
That's all I listen to.
Oh, that's all. That's all.
I watch some stuff.
Wait, TV.
You talk about Netflix?
Netflix. Oh, yeah. No. Where do you find all this time?
I don't know. I wake up really early.
Goodness gracious.
I wake up really early. I don't work on Wednesdays.
I don't watch. I watch very little TV.
We watched Game of Thrones.
We did watch
We're
Game of
current on
Thrones.
Game of Thrones. I'm not going to comment on it because a lot of people are going to wait and watch it.
It is good.
It's really good. The writing is good. There is a stupid petition where a lot of people have written in saying that they want the last season redone. Good luck with that, nerds. So anyway, moving on.
Right. There's a lot got to happen this coming Sunday.
There's a lot that's going to happen this last episode. Holy
and
cow.
I will say that it has been the one thing because I do not watch I watch very little TV.
Yeah.
You try to get me to watch movies. I just don't like to make that commitment. That's a 2-hour commitment, 3-hour commitment.
Yeah.
I just don't do it. I would rather read or listen to podcasts. But I will have to say I'm going to miss the Game of Thrones because I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Other than that, I don't think I watch anything. See, I could never do a podcast like you do because I don't watch a lot of television.
No, but you listen to podcasts now.
Other than the Game of Thrones, I'm trying to think of my other television show, The Crown, which is never coming back on. Obviously, it's taken forever.
It's coming back.
Other than that, Big Bang is fixing. They just aired their last episode on Thursday night, and we're just a few episodes behind. That's going to be kind of bittersweet because I have thoroughly enjoyed watching them. Yeah. I love watching their reruns too, just like I've always loved the Friends. That's about it for me. I'm just not much on. Oh, the Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies.
That's the other one.
You haven't watched Dead to Me yet.
Yeah, no, I will. I guess I will.
Dead to Me is awesome.
I've seen some really good reviews on it.
Christina Applegate is killing it.
Yeah,
she is good in that. And James Marsden's in it. He's good.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, you just got my interest. To watch it.
It's funny you said "ooh" when I mentioned James Marsden.
Well,
Would you be interested in watching Westworld?
No.
It's
not
James
that.
Marsden.
Yeah, but that's a totally different kind of show. I'm not into the science fiction at all. I can watch Star Wars, and I have watched Star Wars, and I have kept up with Star Wars, and was completely thrilled about the fact that now Disney owns when Disney bought them. But no, I don't think Westworld's my kind of stuff.
I heard you talking about James Marsden. I heard about a thing about your man Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah,
playing Aquaman.
Yes, I heard that he is. I actually heard this on a podcast. So this is the stuff I heard on a podcast. Okay. I did hear that the new movie that is fixing to come out with, and I think you said you saw the previews when you saw Avengers. Hobbs and
or something in Hobbs.
It's the
Fast and Furious spinoff
of Dwayne Johnson and Jason. What's Jason? Jason Stamos. Say his name.
I think so.
They've got a spinoff.
Jason Statham.
Jason Statham.
The Transporter.
The Transporter. Yeah. They've got a new movie coming out. It's Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah.
I did hear that Dwayne Johnson has said if they have already signed to do a 2 of that show, and he wants Jason Momoa to play his brother. So that would be it wouldn't matter if it was any good or not.
They're going to have to make waterproof seats at the theater.
I know, right?
The women are going to just melt.
So that would be good.
And a lot of the men are going to melt because
I did hear that on a podcast, and I guess because Disney owns the Fast and Furious franchise, because they used to have a Fast and Furious, or they do have at some of their parks. Maybe some of their overseas parks. Okay. Paris or somewhere like that. But did hear the newest the Avengers Endgame is very, very close to beating
Titanic.
Titanic. It's already beat Titanic.
Avatar.
Okay. James Cameron's Avatar is the top grossing film ever. And Endgame is just before beating that. Whether or not it does or not, they're not really sure, because now you've got more Disney movies coming out. You've got the live-action Aladdin coming out soon, and you've got Toy Story 4 coming out soon.
Dumbo just came out.
But Dumbo didn't do well at the box office.
Not like they thought.
Not like they thought it would.
I didn't think it would. I mean, it came at a hard time, and honestly, like they really didn't promote it well.
Right.
You know,
I think they're very happy. I think
there's a lot of movies right now that are drawing your attention. Obviously, a lot of people were saving their money to watch Endgame.
Right.
And a lot of people would honestly say they were ready to watch it more than once.
Well, I hear on podcast, because I do still listen to my Disney podcast, that there's still some theaters that are completely selling out.
Yeah.
And it's been the top grossing. I want to say maybe this past weekend something might have surpassed it, but not by much.
John Wick came out this weekend. Today.
Or that's coming. Okay, this would have been last weekend, and maybe not. Maybe there was several movies that came out that Endgame was still in the lead. Mm-hmm. But now they are, of course, Disney is...
I think Aladdin came out last weekend.
No, Aladdin has not come out yet. Not yet.
Okay.
It's coming out very soon, though.
Something came out last weekend. I forget what. But...
Aladdin comes out before the end of May, and then Toy Story 4 is in June.
Okay.
So they are kind of hoping that it...
Here's my prediction. Endgame is still going to be in the theater when Toy Story is in the theater.
Yes. Whether or not it beats James Cameron's Avatar, I'm not really sure.
I'm going to go ahead and say it will.
I would think that the money from the next two shows that Disney's got coming out is going to take away from...
You said you're going to not go to the gym tomorrow. Maybe we can go see it tomorrow.
Yeah, possibly.
It's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Just so long as a 7-foot-tall person doesn't sit in front
Well,
of
we can make sure that you don't drink anything for 5
that
hours before we go see it.
That 3-hour thing is...
Listen, I'll tell you when I went to go to the bathroom about midway, and I'll be like, all right, now. And you can just run and go.
Yeah, but you don't know what you missed.
I can tell you what you missed.
You can send me to the bathroom during the time when you were there so you can fill me in.
That's what I'm saying.
And then you can see what you missed before.
Yeah. That was the plan.
That was the plan?
Yeah.
That was the plan.
We could take a cup and just be like,
no,
a skirt
I don't think so.
And be really awkward,
I don't think so.
and you just hear that be really silent in the theater. At a certain point, you hear.
No, I don't think
you're like,
so.
What is that? Everyone look at each other.
I'll wait and watch it in my pajamas at home.
No. Let's go watch it tomorrow.
Anyway, so podcast.
I'll
you're
buy
done.
you popcorn.
You're done with.
You don't get a drink.
See,
you don't get a drink until you get popcorn.
Then we get stuck in my crawl. I couldn't do that.
If it's in your crawl, you're eating it wrong. Let me show you how to do it properly.
You are crazy. You are crazy.
Oh boy!
I'm trying to think of any other podcasts that I listen to. We do listen to a lot of the same podcasts. You can look at our Library and Tell, which really gets things out of order whenever you listen to something and then I go behind you, or vice versa.
I do fine because I understand how it works. I'll just re-download it and listen to it again.
I probably delete a lot of them that you hadn't even had a chance to listen to.
No, it's fine because I understand that you're probably going to listen to Second Chance Church and to LeeAnn Kreischer before I do. Michael Rosenbaum, you're not caught up on. I listened to his last week.
I don't listen to all of his.
I listened to his last week's. This one that just came out.
But now you're going to be shocked at how many of the Anna Farish that I downloaded. I went through. But she's been doing this for years.
I forgot to mention this one. He talked to Anthony Jeselnik. Anthony Jeselnik is a stand-up comedian. He just put a special on Netflix called Fire in the Maternity Ward, Thoughts and Prayers. And listen, comedy has developed a lot out of things that happen to people in their lives. And sometimes those things that happen to you are really terrible. And he talks about how he went with his neighbor to take them to have an abortion. And this is a lot of abortion jokes. And he says in the beginning of the special, he sets up a joke and he goes, "Oh, if you don't like that, you're going to hate the rest of this." And it goes deep and it's dark, but it's also funny. And there's a joke at the end that's one of those comeback jokes that you're like, holy crap, I didn't see that joke coming. But again, if you're sensitive about that kind of stuff, don't watch it. But if you're not sensitive, watch it. You're going to laugh your butt off. I'm just telling you. He talks a lot to this guy. He talks to Michael Rosenbaum a lot about how his sense of humor has always been a little bit dark and how he's always kind of thrown his parents under the bus, even though he loves his parents a lot. And they're supportive of him. He talks about a lot about how they've allowed him to kind of have some freedoms with his comedy, especially since the fact that he's made a successful career out of it. But a lot of it's very dark humor. And sometimes the joke is in laughing at the thing that you wouldn't think you'd laugh at, and that is the surprise that makes you actually giggle the most. And he said, this special is probably going to catch a lot of people off guard. There's going to be a lot of people pissed off. And it comes at a really raw time in the fact that, like I said, Alabama just outlawed abortions, basically. I don't know how they can do that as a state, considering it's a federal thing, but that's a big issue right now, with Alabama. And Georgia apparently did the same thing, where it's like once you're 6 weeks pregnant, you're considered, it's illegal to have an abortion, and this is going to come to a head here really soon. Not to turn this real heavy on the conversation, but I just want to say, I don't think any guy should have an opinion on this, period. If this is a vote that anybody should have a vote on, who gives a crap what any guy thinks? I mean, the miracle of birth is amazing. The fact that I can only imagine what it's like to have something grow inside of you and then live outside of you, and you give birth to it in the process, if anybody should have a say, it definitely should not be any guy, period. And, these 14 lawmakers in Alabama made a law saying they think that you should have criminal time if you decide to have an abortion, which is only going to mean that people are going to seek it otherwise, and they're going to get hurt, and it's sad. And I hope that somebody steps in and corrects this issue and makes it safe for women again to take care of themselves. And also, if nothing else happens, maybe it brings awareness to people to talk about these issues, because, that's one of the things that Joe talked about on his podcast. Hang on, let me set the camera again. That's one of the things that Joe talked about on his podcast, is he talked about, am I for killing babies? Absolutely not. He said, but do I think I should have a choice or a voice in any of this? No possible way. He said, I am pro-choice because I believe that every woman should have a choice in what they do with their own bodies. And, listen, he goes, there are things that happen in life where you make a mistake. Or, in this case with Alabama, they even said that if it's incest or rape, it's still considered illegal if you have an abortion. And he's like, how is that okay?
That's a topic I stay away from. I'm in outside sales, and there's several topics that I do not talk about.
Well, I don't have that ability or I don't have that restriction, I should say.
You don't have that restriction. I'm not saying I do this. I do it myself. I mean, I don't talk about religion.
Okay.
Because I'm with customers all day long.
Oh,
I does the topic ever come up? Of course it does.
Yeah.
Religion.
When we met your
abortion,
dad, you made a comment. You said, when you meet my dad, don't talk about religion and don't talk about. I was like, okay.
Politics.
And right away, we started talking about religion and politics, and
there's several topics that I just completely avoid because of the job that I do.
Right.
I'm not going to say that the topic doesn't come up, because it does.
Right.
But it's just, it is a top. There are several topics, hot topics, that I stay away from.
If anybody listens to this, they're going to say, your husband believes what?
Well,
that's okay.
It doesn't. I mean, like I say, everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
We can cut this if you want.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Okay. So anyway,
like I say, there's just several topics that I steer clear of because of my job.
I understand. I totally do. If anybody wants to listen, I have a sponsor that's just started this past week, and it's through Anchor. I got 3 sponsors right now. All 3 sponsorships are through Anchor, and which is how I actually produce this podcast on the internet. And this latest one talks about, if you want to be a part of this podcast and you want to have a voice, there is a function on their page where you can hit leave a voice message, and I'll be able to play that on the podcast and reply to it. So if you have something you want to talk about and you want to be part of this, give me some feedback. If you disagree with me, or if you want to, if you do a good impression of me, or if you want to have
a good impression of you,
if you have a question, or that's what
I have an impression.
You do?
Yeah, I do it all the time. And you always tell me I don't sound like that.
It's amazing. Me and your ex-husband sounding just alike.
No, you don't. No, you don't. But before we end, I had a customer say something to me yesterday. I think it was yesterday Wednesday, that I had not thought, that I'd never heard this mentioned before. And these guys are in the paper. They do. They get paper in. They make paper cores.
I was hoping you'd say paper airplanes.
No. Okay. They make paper tubes.
Okay.
And what you find, paper towels.
Yeah.
Toilet paper. Yeah. I mean, they do all kinds, from the kind that you see, that carpet.
Do they randomly walk around and go?
No, I would hope not.
Okay.
They do anything from carpet. They make these tubes to send to places that needs them for. Like they order them in different sizes. They make them in different sizes, different lengths.
Madonna bras?
No.
No? Okay.
Not combs. Paper tubes. Anyway, you can picture anything from carpeting to toilet paper. They make those types of cores. One of the comments that one of the guys made while I was there on Wednesday was that he's in on a conference call. He gets paper from the paper mills, different paper mills. Mm-hmm. And he said that now the industry is experiencing the Amazon effect.
Oh.
And I thought, yeah, you know me,
We talked about that.
I'm a question asker. What is, well, the Amazon effect for his line of work, he has these massive balers that they put in, that they get places like Targets and Walmart to put these massive balers in the back of their store or on the outside where they put all the cardboard in there. And of course this cardboard is recycled. It goes to the paper mill, and that's how he gets his paper to make his paper tubes. Now, so many people are buying online, and these items are coming to people's homes in these cardboard boxes, and we are doing what? We're breaking them down and putting them in the regular trash. Mm-hmm. And he's saying that the paper mills are starting to feel the effect, the Amazon effect of this.
Because they're not getting the recycled stuff.
Because Walmart and the big box retail places are not having to put as much stuff on their shelves because people are buying more and more online. And I made the comment to him, and I don't know because I don't go. We have weekly trash pickup at our home, but would there be some type of encouragement for people to, because we do get a lot of stuff online, and I'm sure there's people that get way more stuff than we do, but to save these boxes or break these boxes down and take them to like
a recycling center,
a recycling center, or be have this be part of recycling because of it's starting to cause a problem for paper mills.
Well, in our area really doesn't have a big recycling promotion. I mean, if we go to our local dump when they're open, I mean they're only open certain days. There is a recycling
Tuesday,
area.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Is that right?
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. And only when they're open, like there's hours.
Yeah, it's like 7 a.m. to 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
Do they have like cardboard?
There is a cardboard area that you can put stuff to be compacted and then returned. But
I want us to do better about that.
Our neighbor has a special rollout thing that's blue that he puts his cardboard in. We don't have one of those. And he also does his stuff through the same people we do. I don't know if it's something you have to ask for, but I thought, why isn't there something more like that? When I was in the military stationed in California, obviously California is super liberal and they're on top of all recycling stuff. And when I was in government housing for the military, they immediately gave us a trash can for only refuse, and then we had 3 separate bins, and it was for plastic, paper, and glass. Mm-hmm. That was our 3 bins. And whenever you put the trash out there, you put the 3 bins, they stacked up on top of each other, you put those out there with it. Obviously, you need a different scenario now, especially with cardboard, like you're talking about the Amazon effect. There's a lot more cardboard being sent to people's houses now. But, again, like you're talking about, could they do something to maybe influence the local area to do more recycling? Because it would be in their best interest to somewhat get financially invested. And have awareness and have discussion and also have maybe the money part of it put into hey, let's put out these bins and let's talk about recycling and let's
you think invested. About the Christmas the way we Christmas shop now
everything's sent to our house.
We do everything online.
We click online and be like, hey, I like that, I like this, because let's face it, if you go to the store, you're not going to find the thing you're looking for nowadays. It's really rare to find anything you're really looking for, and also it's also a hassle to go out there.
You can do the Christmas shopping in your pajamas.
In your pajamas.
On your short. On your couch. I'm sorry, I don't know where that comes from. On your couch. And it's...
I was just... On the beach?
I guess. I guess.
And listen...
All of that comes in cardboard.
This camera's about to die, so we're going to wrap this up. I do want to ask you, though, how did you like sitting on the Shrek chair?
Actually, it's pretty comfortable. It needs a cushion. I have a blanket.
It's not bad. You're just a little short.
Yeah, probably look like a 2-year-old sitting
Plus,
in a
you're
chair.
not really sitting back on it. But anyway, I know I didn't have any idea I could do this. Did you have any idea I could do this?
No, I'm not going to say I was surprised. No,
Really?
No. You're very talented.
I had no idea I could do this.
You're very talented.
I kind of.
I will have to say, when you first started with it, you think you peaked.
I think I peaked.
Yeah. I will have to say, when you started with it though, with this back piece,
Yeah.
I was not sure. I had to keep from laughing.
You could see the wheels turning in my head, though, right?
I seen the wheels turn. I seen the smoke for sure.
That was dust.
That was dust. Yeah, there's a lot of that out there. But it actually turned out way better than I would have thought.
Yeah.
Way better.
I keep looking at it thinking, who built that? How did I build that? Holy cow.
You did great.
I'm amazed. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you, everybody, to... blah, blah, blah. Thank you to everybody who listened. Thank you, everybody who's reached out. Again, this is the second year, and, if you want to be part of this, again, follow the Anchor information and leave me a voice message, and I'll include it into this, and we'll go from there. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe. Remember, 5 stars are better than no stars, and I appreciate 5 stars. And thank you to my wife for being here to
You're welcome.
This second podcast.
We may need to change the ending from a cow to Smoochie.
I don't think walrus... What does a walrus sound
I
like?
have no idea.
Wait, that's not the Smoochie sound.
You sound like somebody just died.
That's the most annoying noise in the
No,
world.
I'm not
You want to hear the most annoying in the world? Okay.
No, please don't.
That was a Dumb and Dumber
Please
joke.
just cue the cow.
Cue the cow, baby!